Hi, I'm Sandy. I bet you anything you'll like my story. So please, like this video and subscribe to the channel. Where should I begin? My parents had very unusual jobs. They bought houses in different cities, renovated them, and then resold them at a higher price. We lived in those houses while the repairs were underway, so we moved fairly often. I transferred to a new school every few months. That didn't bother me though. I'd always been cheerful and outgoing, so making new friends was never an issue for me. One day, my parents bought a new house in a town called Asheville, and soon we moved there. I immediately liked it there. My gut's telling me that life in Asheville is gonna be awesome. The morning after we moved, Mom and Dad got to work on repairing the house, and I went to my new school. Once I got there, I met a funny girl called Claire. We got along like a house on fire. She was part of the school's swimming team and asked me if I wanted to join them. Sounds tempting, but I can't swim. Don't worry, our coach will teach you everything. Okay, I'm in then. Then the door opened and two students walked into the classroom, a handsome guy and a gorgeous girl. They looked like they stepped off the cover of a fashion magazine. But what were such stars doing at our school and not on a red carpet somewhere? Wow, who is that? The most beautiful couple at school, Barney and Stephanie. I felt terribly shy, but I couldn't stop staring at Barney. How could somebody be so beautiful? Unfortunately, his girlfriend noticed the way I kept stealing glances at him. Stephanie looked me up and down with a sneer and frowned. Oops, it seemed like she was mad. Claire jokingly elbowed me. Hey, are you into Barney? Even if I had a crush on him, I could never compete with a beauty like Stephanie. Okay, cheer up. You should come to my party tonight. I agreed without hesitation. After all, that was the best way to make friends. I came to the party that evening and I saw that Barney and Stephanie were there too. They were dancing when Stephanie noticed me again. She suddenly stormed up to me and made a scene. Hey, new girl, I've seen you staring at my boyfriend. She looked like an angry bull and she wouldn't let me get a word in. I started backing away and accidentally knocked over a bowl of punch. Dang it, I wanted to sink through the floor. She kept backing me into a corner until Barney stopped her. Chill out, Stephanie. Can't you see you're making a scene? She snorted angrily and stormed away. Barney helped me wipe my clothes and offered to walk me home. We looked at the stars and chatted on the way. Barney turned out to be a very romantic guy. He knew a ton of interesting stuff. Here we are. Thanks for walking me home. I really enjoyed talking to you, Sandy. Let's do it again sometime. Barney smiled at me and left. I stared after him for a long time, red as a lobster. It felt like we'd been fated to meet. I was in for a surprise the next morning. Barney woke me up by singing a romantic song and playing the guitar beneath my window. Oh, this is so sweet. Sandy, I've been thinking about you all night. I think I fell for you at first sight. Be my girl. What about Stephanie? She acted like a jealous psychopath yesterday, so I decided that we're done. Barney impressed me, and I agreed to become his girlfriend without hesitation. Thinking about Stephanie made me a bit nervous, though. I was sure that psycho would throw a tantrum and try to get back at me, but to my surprise, she seemed happy and didn't even look in my direction. Stephanie is acting sort of weird. Forget about her. Just be glad that you and the most handsome guy at school became an item. I was really on cloud 9. Barney was so sweet and caring. He even gave me an amazing heart-shaped pendant. Here, take this and never take it off. As you see, I was over the moon. But one day after school, Stephanie cornered me. She looked really worried. Sandy, you should know that Barney is a monster. I couldn't think of any other way to get rid of him. That's why I made a scene at the party so he'd finally leave me alone. You should do the same thing. Make sure someone else catches Barney's eye. He'll only make you suffer. Having said that, she looked around fearfully and ran away. I was speechless for a long time. Barney was such a sweetheart. Why would Stephanie say so much nasty stuff about him? Naturally, I didn't believe a word she said. But soon after that, Barney showed his true colors. It all began with little things. First, he suddenly decided I needed to lose weight. If you can't fit into this dress, I'm dumping you. What the what? The nerve of him! I said that I loved my body and I wasn't gonna change. If you have a problem with that, we should break up. After that, Barney immediately backed down and said he was just joking. I let it slide. However, he was acting more and more insufferable by the day. He wanted me to spend every second of the day by his side and was unreasonably jealous. One day, I went to a cafe with my parents without telling Barney about it. He immediately called me and yelled at me for it. Wait, how do you even know where I am? I'm always watching you, Sandy. Next, he lost it when I went to my first swimming practice. I was in the locker room about to change into my swimsuit when he stormed in. I don't want my girlfriend to wear a swimsuit where everyone can see. We're leaving. How did you find me again? I told you, I'm always watching you. Barney was acting crazy. I regretted agreeing to go out with him, even though he was the most handsome guy at school, and I decided it was time for us to break up. Later, I told Barney about it. His reaction scared me. Don't even think about leaving me. I'll spread dirty rumors about you and ruin your life. Jeez! Stephanie had been right. Barney was a monster. Getting rid of him wouldn't be easy. I decided to talk to his parents. If anyone could make him come to his senses, it was probably them. Alas, they were of no help. Barney's parents knew their son was uncontrollable and seemed to be afraid of him. I'm sorry, we don't want to anger our boy. We can't help you. Can you believe it? Barney's own family was terrified of him. I left his house in a terrible mood, and then I got another call from Barney. I'm watching you, Sandy. Why did you go to my house? I froze in shock. Barney was supposed to be at basketball practice. How did he always know where to find me? I was in no mood to talk to him, so I hung up. And then it hit me like a bolt of lightning. The pendant. Barney must have put a tracker in it. That's how he always knew where I was. I tore the pendant off my neck and I threw it into the trash. That was the last straw for me. Barney had crossed a line, and I wasn't about to take that line down. I headed to the police station, hoping to get a restraining order against Barney. But when I got there, I saw my boyfriend casually chatting with the sheriff. Barney saw me and came out of the sheriff's office with a cheeky smile. I see right through you, Sandy. It was obvious what you were going to do, but the police won't help you because the sheriff is my uncle. If you try to break up with me again, I'll ruin your parents' reputation. No one will buy their houses after that, and they'll go broke. The bastard warned me against telling anyone. I was terrified. I didn't know what to do. I told Barney I had changed my mind about breaking up with him, and I did my best to act like our relationship was the stuff of dreams. But I couldn't stop looking for a way to get rid of that monster. There was even a moment where I thought about following in Stephanie's example and finding another girlfriend for Barney. But I knew guilt would eat me alive if I inflicted him on yet another poor girl. I didn't want anyone else to suffer because of him. Luckily, my parents said they were done with the repairs. I felt like jumping for joy. Soon, we'll sell this house and move to the neighboring town. Hallelujah! I was walking on air and counting the days until the move. Of course, I told my boyfriend nothing about it. The day of the move finally came. My parents and I put our suitcases into the car and were about to drive away from the house when an enraged Barney tried to stop us. Sandy, explain yourself. Are you leaving? Yeah, goodbye. Dating you is the worst mistake I ever made. I'll find you wherever you go. I ignored those words, blocked that monster on all social media, and got into the car and cheerfully waved at him. Soon, we arrived in a nice new town. I immediately made friends at my new school and started hanging out with a nice guy called Ethan. I also finally joined the swim team. Things were looking up. I forgot about Barney like it had all been some bad dream, but that was just the beginning. One day soon, I got a message from Barney's mom. She said our breakup had hit her son hard. He had apparently been riding his bike at breakneck speed and fallen. Now he was in a hospital and really wanted to see me. I hesitated for a long time. Barney was a scumbag, but if I refused to visit him in hospital, I would have been just as bad. That weekend, I got on a bus and I came to Asheville. When I arrived at the hospital, I left my purse on a couch and asked the receptionist which ward Barney was in. They spent a few long minutes trying to find the information I needed and then said that there were no patients called Barney currently at the hospital. That made no sense. I called Barney's mom to demand an explanation. Her answer stunned me.
Barney's fine. Why would you look for him in a hospital? I didn't text you anything. There must have been some sort of mistake.
My heart sank when I realized that jerk must have pranked me. It made my blood boil. I wasted so much time for no good reason. Furious, I grabbed my purse and I headed back home. The next day, my life was turned into a living hell. Someone had left a note on our porch. Sooner or later, we'll be together. Huh, who left this here? Then, someone broke a window of my new boyfriend's house. Ethan didn't have any enemies, so he had no clue who could have done it. And then, someone snuck into the swimming pool changing room and ruined my swimsuit. My stomach was in knots. Had Barney found me? How? I hadn't even told Claire my new address. When I got home, I threw my purse on the bed. I missed and it fell to the floor. Imagine my shock when the pendant Barney had given me fell out of it. What is this doing here? I threw it away. This was clearly all part of Barney's plan. He used his mom's phone to text me and lure me to Asheville. Then he waited for the right moment and slipped the pendant with the tracker into my purse. That's how Barney found out where I lived and who I hung out with. He must have come to my new town and did all these nasty things after that. Goosebumps ran down my spine. Barney was probably somewhere close. I knew he wouldn't leave me alone. There was only one thing I could do. Take Stephanie's advice, and find a new girl that Barney could obsess over. The next moment, I saw a shadow move by my window. I had no doubt it was Barney. He'd lost his mind. Still, I decided not to panic and pretend that I didn't know he was there. Let him think everything is going according to his plan. I'll outsmart him. I remembered there was supposed to be a party on the beach that day, and I headed there, convinced that Barney would follow me. As soon as I arrived, I caught sight of a cute girl called Nadine. Great. She was definitely Barney's type. I could see Barney, who was making a very poor job of hiding himself in the crowd. I walked over to Nadine and sneakily pointed at Barney. Psst, look at that guy. Isn't he gorgeous? Do you want me to introduce you to him? Oh, he's too perfect for me. A guy like that would never even look in my direction. Leave it to me. I know what to do. I told her to play along with me and spilled soda all over her. We started to fight. All for show, of course. Hey, watch it! You stepped on my foot! I kept shouting and Nadine very convincingly looked scared. Barney finally decided to intervene. Like a noble knight, he stood up for a beautiful stranger. Sandy, leave her alone. I did my best to look surprised when I turned around and saw him. Barney, what are you doing here? However, he was no longer listening or even looking at me. Nadine had his full attention now. Barney helped her wipe off her clothes and asked if he could help walk her home. As soon as he turned away, Nadine quietly thanked me for my help. Thank you, he's gorgeous. He never would have noticed me if it hadn't been for you. You're so kind. They left together. I should have been happy, but instead I felt awful because I'd done such a terrible thing. Hopefully Barney would go back to Asheville soon and wouldn't bother the poor thing so much. A few days went by. My life had gone back to normal. I was dating Ethan, hanging out with all my new friends, and occasionally swimming. I thought I'd gotten rid of Barney once and for all, until I saw him and Nadine in a store. You must lose weight and fit into this dress. The girl burst into tears. Barney said he was thirsty and went to get a soda, scowling. I couldn't believe my eyes. Why was he still in the city? Had he left home and dropped out of school all to stay here and manipulate Nadine? I felt like a witch for getting her involved in our mess, and I realized I had to stop Barney. So I came up to Nadine and I told her all about her crazy boyfriend. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have set you up like that. Let's team up and punish that bastard. He deserves it. Nadine was miserable, so she immediately agreed that we work together. The first thing we did was ask my new boyfriend for help. We came up with a plan together. Soon, Barney saw Nadine hugging Ethan in the park. Naturally, that jealous moron immediately lost his temper. Barney's eyes turned red with anger, and he tried to pounce on Ethan. Don't worry though, my boyfriend wasn't in any danger. Barney had no relatives in the police force in our city. I asked the cops for help and I led them to the park just in time. They saw Barney, who had steam coming out of his ears, and they didn't let him start a fight. After he was handcuffed, he saw me standing next to Nadine and Ethan. Sandy, are you trying to set me up? You're not gonna get away with this. Get ready for my revenge. His words made me uneasy. Luckily, the cops took Barney to the station. A little later, I found out that he'd been sent to a special clinic to get help for his anger issues. After that, I finally breathed a sigh of relief. The nightmare was finally over. Nadine and I could relax. It was a real victory. I wanted to jump for joy. No other girl would be hurt because of Barney. And so, after a few weeks, I almost forgot about the whole mess. One evening, though, I came home after swimming practice when Nadine suddenly called me. Her terrified voice instantly put me on edge. Nadine, is something wrong? It's Barney. I heard he ran away from the clinic. What? At that moment, I walked into the bathroom and was left speechless. No, it couldn't be. There were words written on the mirror that made my blood run cold. I'm watching you. Oh no, Barney had come back again.